greetings, dears. Let's begin with a heart tune in which you are merging with oneness and love that you are, have ever been, and ever will be. That you see within each other, that you see within this world. Hey, Jim, would you start? So, how is your life reflecting the miracles that are now waiting for you to find?
Well, I had an easy time manifesting a job, which was nice, because I just told the universe I wanted a job by October 1st, and I didn't really look for, the first, I didn't really look very much, but then I found a job that looked like a really good fit, and I basically just got it like that. I think they were waiting for me, because it was they had a hard time filling the position, and the HR director said that after my interview, they were high-fiving each other after so I thought that was a pretty good manifestation.
A very fast, a very good one. Nice way to start a new timeline, you think?
I think so, yes.
Good work.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, you're the only one. All right, Suzanne.
Several things. I found that I'm experiencing some surprises about financial prosperity. That monthly payment I get has been increased because they just figured it out wrong. I mean, wow. So for the rest of my life, I'll be getting more money than I thought. And I was able to negotiate 2/3 decrease in some insurance payment. I mean, it's just easy. And I know the insurance thing is because there is just not this fear in my mind anymore.
Nice.
And so when I think of doing something, all of these objections don't just pop up. It's just like, oh, okay, I'll do that.
Lovely. How are you doing with the old trying to reach through you and become a part of your reality? How are you doing with not listening?
I just ignore it. I just tell it, go away. I just say,
Good.
oh, that's the past. Don't bother me right now. I mean, it's very easy, and it used to not be easy at all.
Good. Lakshmi.
I do two things. One is I thank whatever experience that was and integrate it into wholeness.
When a part of the past pops up in your mind to it, you thank it and release it.
Release it and make it part of the whole.
Good.
And the other is I keep asking myself constantly, do I want to strengthen my carbon-based DNA or my crystalline DNA?
Nice.
So that whatever I eat, the experiences I have, thoughts I have, all those things either strengthens this or the other. So
I think that would make a very lovely bumper sticker. Reinforce your crystalline DNA. I like that.
I found that the things that were always there are louder now. And so the old voice that would occasionally doubt is not loud anymore, but the other is louder. And the other one's kind of weak and kind of pitiful. It's really cool. But I always knew on many levels that I was surrounded by love, and that there were those out of form and in form constantly giving me that love and helping me in my path every single day, every single moment. But now I feel it all the time. And I feel in sync
A
with
little obnoxious, don't you think?
Oh, I love it. It's so, I feel so loved, and I'm so grateful, and it's all around me all the time. And this started like a couple of weeks before the eclipse, but I feel really in sync with it, and the little things that I wouldn't have noticed are miracles are constantly happening, and I can feel the universe helping in it and having a hand in it. And it's like, oh my gosh, this has always been this way, and I've never noticed all of it like this.
Right.
And it's amazing, and it's wonderful. And the other voice that went down is just so pitiful and weak, and it's just great.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Hi.
I keep identifying things as the 80% and the 20% when something comes up that is an old pattern. And there's just immediately just move to the 80% and add to it.
Good.
My dreams have changed.
How many of you have noticed a change in your dreaming? Nice. Good. It's good that you're noticing it, is what I'm saying.
One of the differences for me is that I see very visually in dreams, and so there's always shadow and light in them. And these are just really just almost like the whole space is in light. There's all that definition and everything that you see, but it is just as if someone turned on fluorescent lights or LED lights rather than your regular lighting that we have. So that's kind of interesting. And then another thing that happened was I had 3 different dreams about 3 different events, and I was trying to figure out why I had these 3 dreams. And instead of trying to analyze it, as you were saying, we were getting things in whole seeds. It said, these are all related. They all have a common theme. All you have to do is just recognize it. And so I didn't have to go through a whole lot of process to get that.
And you easily recognized, you knew. Anybody else finding that you are receiving, but more than that, understanding these information dumps you are getting, either when you sleep or when you are just paying attention in your meditation, something like that? Are many others of you experiencing that? That's good. That's very, very good. Nice.
I have a feeling, since we had the eclipse, a feeling of completion. Like,
I've done what I need to, all right.
so from here on in, it's just fun and games.
Well, actually, love, it's more like from here on in, it starts working.
Kathy's new job.
Yes. The miracle of it happening, and then the work because it happened.
So there's some things that used to trip me up, but now it's like an instant realization that,
Yes.
and it's almost funny that I would think that way now that I look at it. It's So I'm very grateful for that.
Very nice, very nice.
I find it so much easier to be compassionate when I'm looking at situations, and even myself, because I did have some anxiety come up about when I got the job. I was like, I saw the anxiety come up, but I was able to be much more compassionate towards myself for having that, and also it's easier for me to be compassionate when looking at the things that are going on in the world. So
Good,
so
very good. Anyone else finding that you're looking at world events differently than you had before? Anyone else noticing that your personal response is different, usually insofar as better? That's good. Like attracts like, and you see what you are attracting to you. Now, that sounds like a pretty obvious statement, but the world, your reality that you live in, is all a response to what you believe you're going to be living in. You create based on what you are drawing to you. So if you live in a world of chaos and difficulty, that's because you're drawing that to you. If you live in a world that is opportunities for compassion and giving love, that's because you are functioning in compassion and love. More than ever before, you are seeing what you are allowing yourself to be. Now, seeing what you are allowing yourself to think you are. Seeing what you are allowing your reality to be. And it's either showing up in a way that stimulates old patterns and is causing you ideally to say, oh, wait a minute, let's change that. Or it's showing itself as this is an opportunity for love. Has anybody noticed your news lately? And of course, the world has not stopped having catastrophic events going on. What are you seeing with regard to those events?
Well, you know, when the hurricane news started on the Hurricane Harvey last weekend, you know, I used to really just be interested in like being a weather channel junkie and stuff like that. But this was different, and I noticed, and it was so wonderful. There were people who were helping people who were total strangers. It seemed like it went beyond color, religion, class, and they just wanted to help each other. And it seemed, well, it just felt so unifying. I mean, I have never, in watching any of those events, seen it like this. The man with the furniture store, the big furniture store in Houston, he just opened his, it was huge. He just opened the doors and let everybody in because he wanted them to be warm, dry, fed, whatever.
Sleeping on the couches and beds and
Yes.
tables.
Yes, all of that.
Is that right?
Yes. I mean,
Lovely.
it didn't matter that it was brand new or anything. He let everybody in as much as possible, and I just think that's beautiful.
selective with my news. I don't watch the cycles, but I pick and choose. But I'm fortunate to be in a network on social media where the people within my friends network post the positive stories. So I know what's going on in the world, but I see that part of it. And one of them was Mexico sent over the border all of these trucks filled with military to help with the rescue efforts in Texas. And they were quoted as saying, "Neighbors help neighbors."
Nice.
And with all that's been going on about that whole thing, that Mexico opened its love and sent all these people into Texas to help with the rescue efforts. And I
Nice.
thought, that's a country expressing that love.
One more example about Houston, and I read this several days ago. There's a group of chefs in the area that pulled together and decided to create meals for the first responders and the, groups of volunteers that are helping people that don't have time to eat or just, they're so busy they can't really provide for themselves, which I thought was just beautiful, that they would all pull together and do that.
Or think of it. Think of it, yes.
And there was a special effort this time to look out for the creatures in the last huge
What's different?
catastrophe like that. The creatures were not accepted aboard the rescues, and they were right in the middle of everything, the dogs and the cats and the birds, the cages.
I'm not real sure how much the burrowing animals would agree with you, but human consciousness and what they could take care of. So much evidence in front of you. Keep seeing it. It is so important that you add to the energy of this change, that you live it, that you make a point of looking to see it, because that's going to stabilize it. Now, I'm going to shift just a little and go to the energy of the eclipse itself. Two very big things happened at this eclipse. Now, it was not so vital that the eclipse was going on as it was that the eclipse happened, if you will, to allow a greater inflow of energy at this time. And that energy was specifically across your country and a bit into the Caribbean. Now, all of the energy was about a massive shift in density and a shift in the timeline of your world. What does that mean? I'm not asking what it means to you. I'm saying, what does that mean when I have said there has been a density shift? What is that?
Well, if you're looking for a definition, I was just going to say where it's going from and where it's going to. But
Going from,
going from more of a fear-based response in terms of things that might evoke fear,
which is third density.
third density, into fourth density, which allows for a love-based response.
Good. Density is about frequency, right? It's a part of a frequency spectrum in which at the lower parts of the frequency, it's all about survival. But the higher you move in the frequency spectrum, the more you are moving out of the solid into the light, if you will, out of the fear base into the love base, out of personal security and looking outward into the world. Your world experienced a massive awakening over particularly the last few years. The shift out of fear and into love is a response to that awakening. Now, the frequency of the planet needed to raise to a particular level for its continued ascension process, as well as the frequency of life force upon the planet, not just humanity, all life force on the planet. Because all life force is moving through a process of spiritual evolution in which this world of form is the backdrop. It's a constantly changing backdrop, but only a backdrop. It's not a reason. It's not a purpose. It is the backdrop. It's the vehicle through which energy can quickly evolve. Now, it may not seem quickly when you think about the wheel of life, but it is actually quite quick. If you are looking at how frequently frequency changes, that just doesn't sound like quite right. But the way that energy works, it's a much slower process. Think geologic time instead of what you think of as this is an hour. The greater plan for this planet has always been that spiritual process of evolution would create first the awakening into a spirit-led life, move to activation of spirit-led choices, and end the process here with the ascension process, in which all that is here is complete and the experiment no longer needs to continue. That plan required the awakening of more than half of life force on your planet, and that was accomplished. But in the accomplishment of that half, fear was still so pervasive that security-oriented behaviors within the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, and the humans kept, that's not exactly accurate, but I'm going to go with it, kept the next step from happening. So much fear-based activity drew more fear-based activity, creating a very solid base of low-frequency, tolerant beings. When you are willing to tolerate anger, frustration, when you're willing to tolerate that which is not the loving thing, you're adding to the solidification of your world. And solidifying in fear is a very, very different thing than stabilizing in love. So, recognizing that something very basic needed to change, those who guard and guide this planet in both form and out of form chose to allow energy to come through that would shock your planet into change. So over your last 5 years, for sure, and for many of you, your last couple of years personally, you have been learning to lead the way into the behaviors, the activities that were required to live in a world of love instead of fear. And your learning of that, more often than not, brought up deep-seated issues within you. Not that you would have noticed, of course. Brought up issues that caused you to very, very often feel, even in the midst of a spiritual community of love, separate, questioning, lonely. And you've had to make a choice. And that choice was, do I want to continue living as I am comfortably, or am I willing to move through this hard stuff? What do I really want? And the what do I really want is still a force going on right now. A lot of times, because what you're learning is what you don't want. I don't want that to happen again. How have I learned to switch that? What you have experienced over the last couple of years has been showing this universe, which is all about information, what a massive change in one's life, what repeated change in one's life will bring. Will it cause life force to burrow back into the ground and hide? Because that's pretty comfortable. Or will it dig down and find the strength and adapt? If you look at your life, you will see the very process that your world is experiencing now. If you look at your life, you will see the kinds of choices that are going to be coming up. If you allow yourself to know, to remember, to accept that you are already at a place of awareness, that you already have that wisdom, that you already have what you need to make the decisions that are in front of you, then you are going to allow your world, what you draw to you, what you see, you're going to be in a world in which people are ready and people are using their innate wisdom and people are moving onward in a very quick way. You are the heartstone. You and those who work invisibly for this planet to guide and guard. You are the heartstone. Heartstone. Just in case you thought I said hearth. And the energy that comes into this world moves through that heartstone and out into the world. And your clarity, your ability to see the love in a situation, the gifts around you, to know those things that are positive and lead toward higher consciousness. Those things are exactly what your world is needing. And those are the doors that you're going to be seeing opening in front of you through this coming month. Now, I know that there is unfortunately large groups in your world that are trying to make this energy flow a part of a catastrophic system. Come the time of the equinox, you're going to have a massive inflow of energy that will bring about the end of the world. I want you to pay attention where you hear that, if you hear that. I want you to pay attention to that, because it's fear-based and a part of the old, trying very, very hard to wedge its way in to this new. Pay attention to those places in which you get information on a regular basis, and be sure that you are feeding the positive, love-filled light of a new world. Pay attention to what is going on within you. Because whenever you are experiencing large amounts of interior change, and you have had massive changes going on in activation of the it's by far more than saying your genetic self. It's changes in your blueprint and the blueprint of this world. The more you allow those activations, which are going to show themselves up in greater acuity of all of your sensory experiences, which are going to show up in your ability to heal, to change your personal reality. They're going to show up in what you realize you know. Not the old world's psychic, I think this is what I'm seeing kind of thing, but more like what is 2 + 2? Well, you pretty well know it's 4. You don't have to work it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know it. You know it because you learned it really early on. And it's stuck. And the what you are in this world and have been since very early on is coming through in ways you have not allowed it to before. Allow. Renew the old that is positive. Release the old that is not. That which is love from your past builds you. The wisdom it has given you, the experiences that you have grown with, they're very important. Renew it. Make it real for now. When you were a child, you had loving, happy experiences growing up locally. Well, you're all grown up now. Recreate that. Release what is a part of the old that is based in fear. Release what you don't need. Do that both ceremonially. I consciously release blah, blah, blah. Do it internally, do it externally. But recognize your release. As you are releasing, fill those spaces up with what you want in your life. So take a moment, think, what do you want? First, in your life. Second, in your world. What kind of reality do you want to live? Now, that's pretty much a homework question. Because if you were to answer it right now, you would give me the spiritual answer. And that's good. But in the day-to-day workings of your world, what is it you want? Because you are going to become the person capable of drawing to you what you want. So what is it you want? And is that the person you want to be? You're going to be seeing changes, as I said, not only in a sensory way to do with your outside world, you're going to be seeing changes in what you thought was your interior world. And that is, you're going to be seeing energy, experiencing it differently. Now, this is a growing process. It's not automatically you see all energy, you know exactly what it is you're seeing, you see that which is generally invisible. It's a growing process. What you allow yourself to recognize and repeat. Recognize and repeat. Right now, you may not see the lines of energy that flow from plant to plant, animal to animal, human to human. But you get a flash of it. Amplify the flash you're getting. Activate. Activate a reality in which you are okay with seeing energy, with communicating with minerals, plants, and animals. Do not fall into the old trap of fear in which you do that horrible, awful, terrible thing of saying, I'm making this up. Allow. Pay attention around you. The people that you bring into your life need to amplify higher frequencies. Pay attention to what you sense around you and play with that. When you get a sense that there is an energy presence next to you, ask to see it. Introduce yourself. Ask why it's there. And when you receive the full blast of that answer, don't say, I'm making this up. Allow that your world has changed so that you might see and experience those changes. I am drinking the water in this glass, but this glass was full of water. It's being displaced right now by air because the water is emptying out. When all the water has been sucked up, because that's pretty much what drinking it is, it's all air. Your world is at a pivot right now. These changes have come about. Are they going to set? Or will it simply be one more huge piece of magic that nobody really notices? Right now, you're noticing. Right now, your world is noticing. People are finding different responses are showing up. People are finding positive attitudes are taking place of what would have a month ago been very negative ones. Amplify it. Amplify it. Get conversations going that plant the seeds of things really are changing in a positive way, aren't they? See that positive and get it solid. Get it out there. Strong. Displace fear. with the vital air of love and positivity. You are still seeing and experiencing the aftershocks of these changes. This month, your month of September, you're going to see multiple times in which change and choice show up in a very obvious way. It's not so much your choices. I'm not saying that you're not going to have choices in front of you, because of course you will. But what's so vital right now are for you to see the choices the world is making and to put forth the energy that those changes be positive and good. You see them. You act positively on them, and you direct the world into it. Timeline. This has been a rebirth in very many ways. But rebirth means that there is a period of adaptation. You call it adolescence, perhaps. And your world is going to be functioning a whole lot like that learning happy child that you were, or the frustrated, unhappy child that you were. Do not forget that what you see is because of what you are. See the positive. Release the fear base. As a child grows from that birth, it gains experience, and experience can lead to wisdom. It also can lead to stalling out. A year ago, many of you were stalled out. Do you know what I mean by that when I say stalled out? You were on a plateau. You were not actively working toward much of anything. Not just working toward the positive, but you weren't actively working in the negative either. You have been changing. You've been seeing the need for action in a positive way. You've been making choices that have allowed you to move forward, or you would not be here right now, because those were also the choices in front of you. To let go, to no longer be here. Those choices are still coming about. You're going to be seeing many in this world taking the opportunity to leave. You are very likely, more than once before the end of this year, going to have the same options in front of you. Do I want to stay? Do I want to go? You see those in big leaps, you see them in tiny decisions. But you will see it. And as if a little bell went off, you will know this was a choice. I just made a choice. You'll know it. Because your energy forces are awakened into a new kind of function. And your energy knows that you can function visibly in this world or invisibly. You are needed. You are needed. Right here, right now. You are needed to show the way, to bear the light, to hold the doorway open and keep the path clear. You are needed. But as always, the choice is yours. This time is unique. And in many ways, everything is in a watch pattern. Look to see what's happening in this world at fourth density. Look to see what's happening with those higher frequency workers who are here. Look to see what mass consciousness is doing. Is it reaction? Is it positive? So you need to watch. Because the energy that you put out by way of experience in this world, it's the means by which those who watch get a full understanding of what's happening. I borrow a body. I don't have a full understanding of what you within this body experience. It's not possible. Now, having said that, I'll very quickly tell you I wouldn't want to, but again,
From past experiences where you were informed, do you not have that?
I have no past, you have no past. I have this moment, you have this moment. There is no before that matters. Right now, right here. This is where it all matters. Right now, right here. So, no, it doesn't matter. It is. It's all new. Until you link it to something old and choose to live there instead. So don't. Don't link it to the old. You are creating, no, let me change that. You are needing to create a new way for your brain to send messages into your body. Do that. Create new neural pathways physically and spiritually. This timeline has an endpoint. Mass is not forever. The plan actually has an end. Make use of your time. Make use of what's in front of you. Choose light, love, deep joy. Choose a new and better reality. See it, think it, live it, be it. A few days ago, and it really was just a few days ago, you worked with a united mind, with high-frequency beings, visible and invisible, whose work is to help bring this world and all life force on it into ascension. You became the conduit, and as the conduit, the balance point for the energy moving through. It was so beautiful. Caused quite a stir. Don't let that end. Stay in that place of power. Continue that energy flow from the eclipse. See it and be there here. Did you get that? Yeah. Bring it to this now, consciously. It's really a great time. A little bit later in this month, you're going to open a twin stargate. Now, it doesn't matter if you're actually going to be there. That opening is a part of the eclipse energy. So you will be there because that is your new reality. When those stargates open, your access into this universe is not going to be limited by the rules of this dimension. Your density will seek out what it is. And for some of you, that will allow you to escape the bonds of form quickly and easily. Allow you to work on levels beyond that which you have been working. Allow you to work with those you have been unable to merge with. Doorways that have been closed are open, and they're opening into a world at a pivot. This is why, instead of giving you, oh, it's Labor Day and you've labored so well, and September has a lot of interesting things, that's why instead I'm giving you focus on what you want this world to be. Focus on what you want to be. You are creating the power that will be a part of this new reality. You are creating a new love-based reality. I'm just torn between being your cheerleader and being your parent. Be really careful, make sure you do this, but do it well. Go team. The key to making a good reality is to enjoy your moments. Don't bother with those things, those people that take you away from your love, from your joy. Fill your life up with what feeds you. Stay conscious, actively conscious of love. This month is going to move by very quickly. Everything in this timeline is going to move very quickly. Fill your life up with what matters. Fill your time up with what matters. All right. I'm good. Bonnie, you had a question earlier.
I was going to ask about the decision to stay or go. Is that made in any conscious way, or is it made
For some, it will be a very obvious conscious choice. For others who do not hear their spirit quite that well, it won't be necessarily obviously a conscious choice.
For example, when Marion was so ill, I wasn't there and I don't know how her decision was made. Was that both a spiritual and a physical?
Absolutely. The spirit made the decision and the human self recognized it and said, I'm not going anywhere. In fact, pretty much those words. I'm not going anywhere. It's not, very often it's hindsight that you look back and you realize you made a decision. It's very special to recognize it at the moment. All right, make use of this month. If you are going to be a physical part of the Arkansas trip, I will see you again very soon through this body. We have a lot to talk about. In the meantime, there is a very big energy flow. Not at all like the eclipse, but a very strong energy burst. Tomorrow, it's actually starting now, so I kind of hesitate to say tomorrow, but tomorrow. And again, the whole time around the equinox, not just 3 days before and after, but probably 5 days before and after. The 23rd is going to be the peak of it, not the 21st. The 23rd is going to be the peak of it. Pay attention to you and what you're creating in your world at that time. Big blasts of energy sometimes throw you off. So just flow, respond, don't react. Through the end of the month and into about the middle of October, the eclipse energy is going to be gently slowing down. Please, please, keep it going. Keep it alive. Keep it balanced. Keep it flowing. Hold this change in your heart and live it. All right. Look in the mirror. Next time, questions and answers. It's about time, don't you think? Happy trails.